Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Inside the Tauntaun, a Star Wars podcast where we get to the guts of what makes Star Wars meaningful to us. I'm Alyssa Simmons, and I'm joined by my two pals, Dino Nicandros.
Hello.
And Daniel Dawson.
Hello there.
And this week we are crawling outside the Tauntaun once more to discuss WandaVision on Disney+, Episode 3, now in color, directed by Matt Shakman and written by Jack Schaefer. And by God, we're Marvel fans.
I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Episode 3.
What's that sound? It's the sound of forward plot momentum.
Yeah. Moving right along. I mean, wow. Just like the ticking of the Hydra watch, it's the time seems to be moving much faster in WandaVision land.
That was
Did you write that one down, Daniel?
beautiful.
No, I didn't. I just
What a way to
out.
tie it.
I'm a fucking poet.
Oh, wow.
You're an effing something.
Yeah, well, there's that.
All right, so if you joined us for our last discussion on WandaVision episodes 1 and 2, you're back for episode 3. And we're going to do it a little different this time. We're going to do like a little brief plot synopsis, and then we'll just chat about the episode how we did last time.
Just to remind
Correct.
you of the creed.
Yeah. All right.
Because what they're really doing with, or what they've done with the first 3 episodes is really sprinkled in elements of the plot, but they're really playing with form and
Yes.
genre to kind of lull you into a false sense of security, and then they give you the little eye winks of, oh my god, this is
Nothing is
Something-
actually quite disturbing.
Yes.
So when we last left them in the 1960s,
late 60s.
Mm-hmm.
there was a real emphasis on Wanda having children, and then we discover that indeed she is pregnant,
For the children.
and she is now very much pregnant.
Yeah.
When this episode opens, we find ourselves in the 1970s, a la the Brady Bunch
Slash
And-
Partridge Family.
/ the
Yeah.
Partridge Family.
Well, their house specifically is an
Very
exact
Brady Bunch.
replica of the
Yeah.
Brady Bunch home.
Yes, it is.
And
Ridiculously
she has
well
a
done.
fucking Marsha Brady haircut, even.
Yes.
Yeah.
She does.
So they're both kind of taken aback by the speed in which this pregnancy has escalated,
Mm-hmm.
or accelerated, rather. And she is just at about 9 months pregnant in the course of a few hours, which is a disturbing turn of events in and of itself, that she, assuming she has control over everything that is happening, at least to some degree, she has switched the entire time period, a decade,
Mm-hmm.
overnight. And she begins to have everything that comes with late-term pregnancy, contractions and wild hijinks start to occur. Her powers are kind of out of whack. There's a great moment in the kitchen where they're trying to go over breathing exercises, and it nearly destroys the entire kitchen, and it short circuits all of the electricity, and then we find out it knocks out power in the
whole
entire
town.
community. And you get a really ominous kind of foreboding of like, wow, that was a false contraction. What happens when the real one comes? We're like, oh God. By Vision's calculation, the baby is coming very, very, very soon. But after she has kind of her first episode, Vision begins to wonder if things, yet again begins to wonder if things aren't really right here.
That's one of my favorite moments.
Yes, and he starts to question Wanda on this. And
Being very
it's
sincere.
it's a blink and you'll miss it moment. But the world just kind of blips for a second, and it rewinds to the beginning of the conversation they were having. And if you didn't know any better, you'd think it was just a glitch on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
but what
right.
actually happened was her rewinding yet again when someone either questions or interferes with the world that is being
the thing
built
that
here.
was cool about that is that it wasn't like a rewind like we saw before. It felt like an actual nope, edit.
Yeah.
Like she was like, nope, we're back. Like it wasn't
Right.
even just like, oh, we need to step back. She knew the exact moment where they needed to cut. So that was interesting for sure.
Right. She continues to have her baby pains, so Vision decides to go and get the doctor because there is a birth that is imminent. They have a great argument over the child's name. So Vision runs to get the doctor, and Geraldine, a.k.a. Monica Rambeau, shows up, and she wants to borrow a bucket, and of course, Wanda is 9 months pregnant, and no one has any idea that she was pregnant to begin with.
Right.
And so you get this kind of great callback to sitcoms of the time that I believe several of them had similar sticks of covering up, pregnancy.
Oh,
or
yeah,
covering up
absolutely.
Definitely.
things of that nature, and the lengths they go to, the ridiculous lengths they go to.
They still do it now.
They still do it,
they'll
yeah.
have. I mean, my favorite one was this is not a sitcom, but in Scandal when Kerry Washington was pregnant, they literally just shot her from an angle and always had a vase or a purse or something just right in front of her belly. So
Right.
it was insane.
And that kind of manifests with her messing with the jackets, and she's got a fruit bowl.
Fruit bowl, yep.
So Geraldine is kind of playing that neighbor that won't take a hint, and she comes in and just wants to talk about her new job and whatnot. And Vision rushes to get the doctor, who is about to leave on vacation with his wife, and he picks him up and quite literally runs back. And this is where things start to get a bit wild.
Start?
Well, right. But they really start to escalate. So while while Wanda is at home with Geraldine, this stork that she painted on the wall in the children's nursery, or the child's nursery, comes to life and starts trotting about the house.
Well, this is actually the second thing that she's seemingly brought to life.
Oh, right.
in
She
the-
brought the butterflies.
She makes a little
in the
mobile to
nursery.
hang over the crib with butterflies, and then they all
Come to life, and then
come
she
to
lets
life,
them
and
out the
she lets
window.
them out the window. Yeah.
Oh, she said that my tummy is all aflutter or something, and then they come to life.
And then the stork comes to life and is running around the house while Geraldine makes herself comfortable on the couch. And you kind of have an interesting moment of Wanda trying to get rid of it with her little kind of finger twitch.
Yeah.
Her bewitched move. And
But you can't do it.
but she can't get rid of it.
Which is interesting.
Yes.
Like, it's a life form that can't be poofed out of existence.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
I'm not sure what's happening there, but so you have various kind of close calls of Geraldine almost seeing the stork. So Wanda then goes into labor, and
I'm
it's like
worried.
the doctor's not here, and it's going to be Geraldine, a bucket, and Wanda on a bench. Wanda is able to have the child, and in classic TV form, it is beautifully swaddled and it's very
Yeah,
clean,
already.
and
yes.
that's
And
and
3
that's
months
that.
old. That's my favorite
three-
too.
Right, at 3 months old.
Babies on TV, they're well, they've gotten better about it, but I think up
Yeah.
until the 90s, there was a rule that you couldn't have babies under 2 months old on set or
Oh,
something.
interesting.
So that was the reason why so many newborn babies
Just look
looked
like Gerber
enormous.
babies.
That's not a new baby.
And everything's going just absolutely haywire as she's as she's giving birth. So the baby comes. Vision gets home with the doctor. Doctor drops a great line about, like, it was almost like we were flying. Which you were, Doc.
You were.
You were. You have a really beautiful moment of Vision seeing his child, and he agrees. He calls it Tommy, which is what Wanda wanted to call. They were fighting over Billy and Tommy.
Yeah.
And upon seeing the baby, Vision gives in and calls it Tommy, and then she asks him if you want to introduce yourself as you, and he transforms back into his synthezoid kind of form, and it's really sweet. And he gets down to kiss Wanda, and then she starts screaming again. we have another child on the way, and out comes Billy, and they have 2 twins.
There they
Were
are.
we surprised? Not
No,
really.
Not about that.
because Billy and Tommy are Speed and Wiccan from the comics.
Yes.
So this is
When the thing is wick, it has a laugh about it.
there it is.
First one, 12 minutes in. Okay.
Yeah, we haven't done the
Wow.
Secret Garden yet. Well, okay, that's good.
Yeah, we've never done
That's
that.
good.
It's weird.
All right.
So the babies are good. Vision walks the doctor out, and Vision asks him, "Are you going to be able to make your vacation? Sorry, we called you over here." And he said, I don't think we're going to be able to go on vacation. Small towns, they're just so hard to escape.
Yeesh.
Ooh.
That part
That
freaked me
Gave
out.
me the willies.
And then Vision takes a look over and sees his neighbors,
Agnes and
Agnes.
Herb.
Yeah. Whisper,
Agnes
whisper,
and Herb.
Whisper, whisper.
and they're very nonchalantly whispering
Yeah,
so as to
super
not be
nonchalant.
heard.
Yeah.
Super subtle. Well, I mean, we're in the Brady Bunch style, so it
Right.
would not be subtle at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And Vision goes over there and he's like, "What's going on, gang?" And they are acting weird.
Mm-hmm.
And asks them about the power outage, and
Herb is
And
just straight up glitching.
Herb is
Yeah,
yeah.
he almost sawed through the entire plaster.
Right. There was a moment towards
Wall.
the beginning of the episode where he's cutting the hedges and is sawing through the wall, and Vision is like, I think kind of makes a joke about it. I think you cut a little too deep there, Herb, and he's like,
Doesn't seem to faze
yeah,
him.
and then he keeps doing it.
Yeah, right.
So scary.
Mm-hmm.
There's something Herb wants to tell Vision, and Agnes is like, nope, we're not doing that. But what was really interesting is Agnes asks if Geraldine is in with Wanda in a really kind of concerned manner.
Yeah.
And we start to get the sense Agnes never completes the thought.
Yes.
People are not what they seem to Vision and
Yeah.
Wanda.
Right.
And meanwhile, inside,
Well, Herb says, Herb almost lets it out because he says, because we're all, and he doesn't finish
Yeah.
that sentence, and you're
Fill in the
like,
blank.
trapped? Are we all, what is
Yeah.
it that we
And
are all?
the
Pretending,
information that they do give Vision about Geraldine is that she appeared out of nowhere, and she doesn't
No
have
home.
a home.
Right.
So
not married, no home.
yeah, not married, and yeah. So
So it's kind of interesting. Are they aware?
they must be.
Well, no, they're. I don't think they are creations of Wanda. They are outsiders of some kind.
Well, it's interesting too. There's a thought, that they might all be dead. Which
Yeah.
is really
Yeah, maybe.
I
creepy.
mean, I
other
thought
than Geraldine, maybe because she's sort of an outsider, but
in the
thought-
trailer, Agnes asks Vision if she's dead.
yes. Right, yeah, am I dead? And she's just like, well, why'd you ask that? He's just like, because you are,
Yeah.
because Vision is dead. And the fact that she's cognizant of that, that's also weird. We haven't gotten to that episode yet, so I'm very excited to see what that's
So-
all about, but
But when we step back inside the house, Geraldine lets her guard down a little bit
mhm.
because Wanda starts when she's kind of putting the kids to sleep.
She's monologuing.
Wanda monologues about how she had a twin brother.
Her acting,
named
Elizabeth
Pietro.
Olsen's acting in this episode so far she's just so good.
She's
Emmy.
so good, and I'm
Yeah.
so okay.
She's
so first,
it's an Emmy nom for sure.
really quick,
I mean,
I'm a complete doofus crazy, stupid poop, fart.
Correct.
Correct. This is correct. Luke Monday brought to my attention that this isn't just any Olsen. This is like younger sister to the Olsen twins.
You
Yes.
did not know that?
I didn't know that.
Daniel, she looks exactly like them.
No, she doesn't.
Yes, she does.
She
And her
very
last
much
name is
does.
Olsen. Yes.
I
She
know,
absolutely
but I
looks
didn't
like
think
them.
about that.
Oh my
I'm a
gosh.
crazy person, okay?
Actually, I'm kind of hoping they make a cameo if they do like a Full House episode.
Oh,
But here's
Could you
the fun
imagine?
thing. I do
Could you
love
imagine how
Shiza,
stupid
that would be
stupid
so
great that would be?
stupid,
That
but
would
I'm
be
here
nuts.
for it. I'm
would
totally
be
here for
nuts.
it.
Although it is cool because, I mean, I know it's just a coincidence, but also, like, her sisters happen to be twins. That's fun.
Yeah, that is a little fun coincidence that you just learned about, Daniel. Wow.
God.
Wow.
But what's so Geraldine lets her guard down when Wanda is telling her about her brother as she sings a Sokovian lullaby to
The babes.
Tommy and Billy, which you kind of hear her accent start to come back a little bit.
Yeah, we
which is
haven't heard that in a
interesting.
while.
Mm-mm.
So this is Wanda's first kind of monologue about her previous life. So this is further confirmation that she knows it's not real. This is all exactly, at least to some degree, how she wants it.
Mm-hmm.
So Geraldine then says he was killed by Ultron, wasn't he?
Yeah, whoa, drop that bomb.
Oh, okay. And she kind of pauses for a minute. Wanda pauses for a minute and then looks at her and says, "What did you say?"
What the fuck did you say?
And then you start to see the wheels come off for Wanda a little bit.
Yikes. That, oh man, I
She's
got
starting to
so
piece it all back
nervous.
together, and she's like, "What'd you say?" And Geraldine kind of tries to cover up her tracks, and like, I said you're a really strong woman. I'll say it again if it make you feel better. And Wanda is not having the BS. And this is like one of the first times we see really scary Wanda in the MCU.
Yeah,
like
she got unglued.
the unglued Wanda. And
She asked her about her.
She notices her necklace.
the shield,
which
necklace.
has the sword.
What does that symbol mean?
Sword. Daniel, you keep calling it shield.
Dang it! I did it again.
well, it almost is shield.
It's close.
understandable.
They're related.
Yeah. Sword and shield, they all go
It's
together.
not the same, and you're an
It's all
idiot, so
about
stop.
knights and whatever.
So yeah,
But,
so she sees the necklace.
So she
and is like,
notices the sword necklace.
Oh my god, did
And-
you guys know that she was the Olsen twins' sister?
did you just edit backwards? Are you Wanda? What's happening?
Well, I have editing power of this podcast, so I could do that at any
Oh,
time.
do it.
I
No!
could change any episode to say what I want it to say.
Don't do it.
But anyway, so she notices the sword necklace, confirmation that Monica Rambeau, aka Geraldine, is a sword agent from the outside. And the weirdness continues outside, and then Agnes kind of breaks it up. It's like, I gotta go do my macrame, and Herb just like, see you later, Viz. It's weird.
Like, ooh, yeah, time to hit the old dusty trail. Yeah.
And Vision goes inside and asks Wanda where Geraldine went, and you get what probably should be called the villain shot, because
Right.
this often happens when someone's killed somebody or is just up to no good, where the camera slowly pans out and there's just this dead look in her eyes.
Yeah, like
And Vision asks her where she went. She said, "Oh, she had to run home."
yeah. Oh, everything's fine, honey.
And as the camera zooms out, the aspect ratio changes to the normal widescreen Marvel, aspect ratio,
Yes.
and we find ourselves in Westview,
Just outside. of
in
Westview.
our reality, and
So it's
out
very-
pops
it's apparently a real
Geraldine from.
place.
Yeah, it's a real town, and Geraldine pops out of what looks like a force field, staticky force field. She lands on the ground, and she's immediately converged on by what I'm assuming are sword
Yes.
agents. There's a whole
Yeah, there's
sword
an
camp set up.
encampment. Yeah.
Yeah, I did like a
helicopters,
zoom in
trucks.
enhance. I went frame by frame on that shit. There was definitely
Yeah,
some,
it looked very shield sword kind of
there
encampment.
were some sword logos for sure.
And as you pan out even further, you then see kind of these towers of lights that are surrounding a giant force field or a bubble.
You felt
Yeah.
very lost, like.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And
they-
Truman
that
Show,
show.
for sure. Like
Very
the outside
Truman
of
Show,
Truman
yeah.
Show. Yeah.
uh-huh.
So it's like a containment field, and it's unclear if Wanda has created this containment field or she's stuck in there. But either way, we now have confirmation that it is a little reality bubble in the middle of the real world. And
Although
is
it's not
being
much of a
observed.
containment bubble if Geraldine just got yeeted out of there.
Well, right. So I mean that's Wanda's. That's the strength of.
Yeah. Her powers
Although
could do
an
that.
interesting
But
power.
detail about her coming out is that she is still in her 70s garb.
Right.
So either she, like, either she like is going in and coming out and changing costumes as per needed, or the costume that was created for her by.
Well, it seems like they're able to come and go.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, there was the beekeeper, and there's
Right.
we're gonna assume Agnes and Herb represent a group, perhaps. It's very possible.
yeah.
The
thing that's
but-
trippy about Geraldine, and I don't know if you both agree with me or disagree with me, but
I never agree with you.
I
hate
never.
him.
Everything you say is dumb. But you know, the first time that we meet her at the sort of like ladies, cul-de-sac lunch meeting thing,
Sure.
she, when she introduces herself to Wanda, she even says like, I don't even know why I'm here.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And then in the scene with Wanda where she's like, your brother was killed. Like, it seems like she's sort of like possibly figuring things out. Like maybe
I
she
think
was
Yeah.
You're right.
maybe she was sent in there and they're like, you need to figure out what's going on. We think that these people might be in here. If you can try to find them, like,
It's curious, like maybe it's one of those things. Is like when you're in there for too long, you start to lose track of what's real.
yeah.
maybe.
Or
Right,
like the
and
second
it-
that you go in that force field or whatever, like you will not remember why you're in there.
right.
And then you got to
That's,
figure it
So-
out.
that
try to
sounds
figure
right,
that out.
and-
But yeah, because her delivery on that was like so like not just like,
Very.
oh, I'm
specific.
saying this to you because like I knew this information before. It was like very much so
Yes.
like, wait, you're that Wanda, and your brother's Pietro.
Yeah.
Like it was
right.
it was trippy, to say the least.
But what's interesting about the after effect was that when she saw that she was clearly not happy about what she just said, she completely backtracked and was like very
went back
quick
into
to,
acting mode. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So it's as if she's cognizant that she's like, oop, shouldn't have done that. Or maybe not. Maybe that was something that Wanda like made her do too. You know, I that's something that we'll find out eventually, I guess.
What's happening though is that the people who are inside are whether they infiltrated on their own or not are beginning to get a grasp of what reality really is.
Yeah,
and
they're starting to
and-
figure it out.
kind of in a disturbing sense, so is Vision.
Yep.
He's-
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And how that plays out, because he is until we get confirmation otherwise, he is not real,
Right.
and neither are those kids.
Yeah.
And if they stick anywhere close to the comics, one of the things that sends Wanda over the edge is that the kids only live as long as she believes in them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Which is
and-
so sad. Like,
That's
if that's what it is,
heartbreaking.
the ending of this show is going to be so tragic.
And we've seen little glimmers, and this isn't spoilery unless you avoid trailers, but they've made an emphasis in the trailer of showing the Mind Stone
Mm-hmm.
kind of exerting itself, or it wasn't really exploding, but like how that ends up in there with her, and or is she capable of recreating an Infinity Stone?
Yeah, wow.
Because they've all been sent. We've talked about this. They've all been sent back to the times in which they were picked up at the end of Endgame. So how she has it, or if she's able to create them, that's pretty foreboding. And
Yeah, I about the whole creating life thing. I'm still very curious to see where that goes, because the stork, I think, was definitely a oddly enough, I think was some kind of a hint as to what is going to happen in the future, because like she kept trying to make it go away, and it wouldn't.
So like her creation of things might not be as in control as
maybe.
as we think. Yeah.
Well, and going back to what all the people are doing there, and I actually made note of this immediately when Vision is talking about Shakespeare, and he says all the world's a stage with the players have their exits and entrances, and I was like, oh, that's this world she's in is a stage.
Yep.
And all of the players, being Agnes and Herb and Geraldine, have their
Right.
exits and entrances.
Yep.
This
So
episode
that-
also, to me, started to sort of feel very much so like the alternate reality in Coraline, the stop
interesting.
action
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
film, because it looks exactly like her other life, but it's not. Things are not what they seem.
Right.
So, well, shall we now just chat about Easter eggs and other
Oh, yeah.
theories and such?
Yeah, a note about just the choosing of the Brady Bunch kind of aesthetic, but
Theme.
really, like, it's the aesthetic of most 70s family sitcoms. Particularly the outdoors, the use of, like, fake grass and
Yeah, the AstroTurf
and the matte painting backgrounds,
Yes.
and it adds to the level of falseness. Like,
Totally.
and it's gone up a level since the first two episodes. Like it feels even more false than it did before, and that kind of mirrors what's happening with the people. And
Yeah, the opening song, definitely based off the Partridge Family opening song.
Yeah.
100%. The hexes, still a big theme.
Yep.
the hexagon is
Hexagon. Which, could mean numerous things, but like, it very simply could just because Wanda's magic is sometimes called hexes.
Yeah.
Something I noticed in the opening, because like I was, pausing and starting and stopping a lot. In the opening, they show a hexagon with Vision in it, and there's like a marquee behind him. And you can't see the full title, but I'm fairly certain it's for the movie Oz, the Great and Powerful.
Oh.
Which it opened in 2013. First of all, that's weird. And also, but I mean, it's directed by Sam Raimi, who is also going to be directing
Doctor
Multiverse of
Strange.
Madness.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, and also the if you think about it, I mean, like the movie has two witches in it and a Tin Man, you know what I mean? So there's definitely, and also if you think about the stork and the way she tried to like poof the stork out of existence, the red smoke.
Yeah, that looked
is, like,
very Wicked
so
Witch of the
completely
West.
from the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, that looked like Wicked Witch of the West powers.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%
a note
Wicked Witch of
about
the West.
so we get another interesting commercial.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
A note about this. So it's a housewife who's just struggling to keep the house together, basically selling her on a vacation.
Yes.
And it ends with her in a bathtub using this particular kind of soap, and it's called Hydra Soak. And the tagline being something like "Unleash the goddess within."
Yeah. Which.
So, a very interesting little tidbit, because we're now getting into the territory where we can start speculating about her potential mutant leanings. Well, first you have to start with like what Strucker did with his experiments with the Mind Stone. We're still unclear whether the Mind Stone gave her powers, or if it just unlocked what was already inside her. And if it's the latter, we're getting our introduction to the X-Men.
Yes. Ooh.
Very, very soon.
Yep.
And that perhaps, and we've talked about it, perhaps a snap of the gauntlet, the Infinity Gauntlet, may have done that on a massive scale. To where
or Wanda could be the one that's starting it.
Or Wanda could end up creating them.
Yeah.
But our explanation for the X-Men is coming very, very
Ooh,
soon.
Yep.
I'm so excited about that. Ooh.
Also, I know it's kind of very common, like, in the olden days, to, like, have the same actors a lot like
Mm-hmm.
in advertisements. But like in this show, it seems very specific.
Well, I saw an interesting theory that those two have shown up in all three commercials.
Right.
And somebody suggested those are Wanda's parents.
Yeah, I read that.
Oh
I read
my
that as
God,
well.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Well, because it's
Ooh, I just got
interesting.
chills
It's
thinking about
interesting
that.
to me. I think that the commercials from the first two episodes were sort of like possibly like we discussed last time, just potentially like pieces of information like from Wanda's memory and from Wanda's life.
Yeah, right.
But this one I think was in obviously direct correlation with her being pregnant and having kids and being like that sort of like there's so much going on and
Right.
you have to take care of yourself and so
Oh, and just a note that those two actors, their names are Ithamar Enriquez and Victoria Blade.
Yes.
Great.
But I think they're notable for their mastery of the time periods. Like those are really, really great.
So great, yes.
But what's interesting, so say those are her parents, they have to be her foster parents unless they're going to, because Magneto is the father of Wanda and Pietro, but maybe they're scrapping that altogether, giving Magneto a different. But they could be her,
because
her
it's
Sokovian
technically
foster
not canon
parents.
yet.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I also, guys, do you have any ideas about what the pendant? I just keep on because Agnes is wearing this pendant in now every episode so far, and I want to know what the hell it is.
Somebody said it looked like death.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
interesting.
So, like
Because it kind of looks like a Grim Reaper.
I mean, I believe it.
yeah, some people.
But I wonder if it's a nod to Mephisto.
Yes, a lot of people think that.
Somebody who's a little more well versed, please chime in.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah,
we we love
comments.
it when you guys comment on our.
But somebody
thing, so-
suggested it was a Mephisto another Mephisto reference.
Help us
Yeah,
out.
but
I
it's
just-
There's
definitely
also-
it's definitely like something and then two children on it.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting. It very, very plausibly. Mm-hmm.
And also Death has a kind of a long running history, and Death as a physical form has a long running history in Marvel because Thanos in the comics was always courting.
Oh yeah, right. That
The
was
female
that was
form
the
of death.
original. That was the original plot of the Infinity.
Right,
His
and
reasoning for
Right, everything was done to impress her, but
Right.
I don't think this is Thanos related, but
He's
it
like,
could
isn't
be a
it
number of things.
sexy how I just killed half of all living things? Isn't that
You love me
hot?
now.
You want me now? How do you like me now? I thought the doctor going to Bermuda was an interesting choice.
with a car.
Yeah, right. But like, if we think about Bermuda, the Bermuda Triangle, and things going into
Yeah,
the
getting
Bermuda
lost,
Triangle
yeah.
and disappearing and reappearing, and there's time vortexes and all sorts of weird things that they think about the Bermuda Triangle. So I'm sure that there's some weird reference.
This isn't really related to the episode, but I was reading this morning, again to kind of rope in the X-Men, that Patrick Stewart had said he was approached by Kevin Feige at some point about returning to play Xavier.
Oh,
But he declined because of what they did with Logan
Oh.
and the sense of finality that movie brought to
I get that.
his story, and I
And
respect
wow,
that.
movie was
and
so good.
Logan, I always forget. I don't know why, but I always forget Logan exists, and then when I go back and watch it, like that maybe was the best X-Men movie.
Truly,
I mean,
it was very
so
good.
it's so relentlessly sad, but
Oh,
Hugh
man.
Jackman and Patrick Stewart are like at the height of their acting powers in that movie.
Wait, was that their first rated R one that they had?
If you don't count Deadpool, yes,
Okay, yeah.
because Deadpool is technically a part of the X-Men
True.
continuity as well.
Yeah,
But
wow. I mean, it was nominated for, and it won, right? Or
I was nominated for awards. I don't remember specifically what, but it deserved consideration.
yeah, it definitely was up there.
And if
for
you
sure.
haven't checked out the black and white version of it, I highly recommend it.
Oh, there's a black and white version.
They re-released it in black and
Oh,
white.
that's
and
fun.
it
I
is
love that.
dope.
That's very cool.
So do either of you have any kind of further inklings about which direction we're going here?
Oh man, I mean, the biggest thing I was surprised in this particular episode was just like how fast we got those babies. I was like, I thought that was gonna be like the end of the season or something. Like that's what we were building up towards. I was like, so now that we've got the babies, I was like, where the hell is this show going now? I'm so confused. I love it.
I think they're setting Wanda up to
become
be the villain of the MCU.
Yeah.
Or maybe not the villain, but she's going to fully become Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. I think you're totally right about that. I mean, especially this particular episode, if anything, like that was the biggest hint, that because you're absolutely right about the dead eyes, like seemingly like totally okay with having potentially just killed Gerald, because she doesn't know if she killed Geraldine or not, or Monica Rambeau.
This is becoming a Doctor Strange level threat.
Yeah.
The kind of threat that will obviously require his expertise in.
That I think is clear. Obviously, we know for sure she has some control over what's going on. You know, which we gathered from the first 2 episodes, but now it's like for sure.
And I wonder how we're going to reconcile what Vision is.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting to figure out what exactly he is. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think they're setting her up to.
And it was rumored, or at least heavily hinted at, that she's going to show up in Spider-Man 3 as well, which Doctor Strange is also supposed to show up in, and there are rumors that all 3 Spider-Man actors will be in said film. So she done screwed up.
Yeah, things are about to get super crazy. I talked with my family last night. I was over at their house, and my sister was like, "So, can you explain to us what's going on in WandaVision?"
Is this Hannah?
Yeah.
Yep.
And like, I don't blame her. Like, it is all super confusing. And if you're not a huge like comic book nerd, a lot of this stuff is just completely flying over your head. Yeah,
it's true. That's kind of the one drawback, is that if you're trying to go into this without at least a working knowledge of not only everything that's come before in the MCU, but really the characters from the comics.
It's a lot. So
unlike The Mandalorian, where it's like the Mandalorian feels like it's a very much
kind
like
of figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I just said, that it's supposed to be mysterious. You're supposed to not. I mean, they're only giving us a few clues in each episode,
right?
As far as like plot goes, but I know things are about to get cray. Where obviously this is the calm before
it's
the
spiraling
absolute
out of control,
storm,
seemingly.
Well,
so,
and like we said, you just have to kind of take an enjoyment out of them playing with all of the different types of sitcom, and
it's
which
very
is
fun.
On that score, they are 10
brilliant.
out of 10.
Oh
knock
my
out of the park.
gosh.
And it just makes me it gets me really excited for the What If. Wait, is it What If show, or what is it called?
Yep.
It's What If. Yeah, man.
Yep.
That's gonna be so fun.
And if you don't know what that is, What If is a Marvel animated series coming to Disney Plus that kind of toys with what happened if Peggy became Captain America instead of Steve Rogers.
Or if the Avengers were zombies,
Or if T'Challa was picked up.
Oh, in Guardians of the Galaxy.
And kind of taken into Guardians of the Galaxy realm.
So many fun ideas. But yeah, I was just gonna say that like Wanda has the perfect backstory for a really good villain.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
She's lost, she's lost
so much
everything.
loss, so much heartache and destruction, and
yeah.
And it's going to get worse there's going to be calamity when she finds out either, well, I don't know if finds out is the right word, but when her reality shatters and Vision's not there and neither are her children.
Her character arc
jeez.
is like it's potentially becoming like it's getting really interesting.
Well, and we remarked about how Elizabeth Olsen tends to, at least before she kind of really got into blockbusters, kind of was more prominent on the indie scene, and she played really disturbed characters. And she said what drew her to Wanda was her mental illness.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's been there all along, and this is kind of the most uncomfortable manifestation of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I cannot wait for this week's episode. Like,
yeah, same. The implications are crazy.
Yes, it's just super fun, and I cannot wait for the action ahead.
I was gonna say I'm also really excited because in March we get Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yes.
And I think it's gonna look a lot like Captain America Winter Soldier did. It's kind of a spiritual successor to that movie, and I love the espionage and I like a good blow 'em up
Yeah, totally.
show, and that's gonna be a nice palate cleanser.
I don't know why whatever you just said. I mean, I think it's just like future shows, but something that I am very cognizant of, especially that I mean, it depends on whether or not her children are actually real, the ones that she just had. But but also that coupled with, Hawkeye training his daughter, and obviously young Monica Rambeau. It just feels like they could be potentially going towards a Young Avengers.
Yes.
Yeah.
They absolutely are. I mean,
It feels like that, right?
And they've got Ironheart, the TV show they announced.
Oh, right.
And that character is kind of the spiritual successor to Tony Stark.
Yes.
And it's not his daughter, which is
Yeah, that is interesting.
But
so I love you.
and then
3000 girl.
Thor: Love and Thunder is going to see Natalie Portman
right?
pick up the hammer in some way. We'll spend more time on that later because that is going to be a really interesting film. But in terms of like messing with reality and time, that's kind of going to be like the hallmark of Phase 4, because we also have Loki, the series, which kind of sees him on a time hopping adventure with the Time Stone.
Yeah.
Or no, not the Time Stone.
No,
I'm sorry,
Space Stone.
the space. Yes, thank you, the Space Stone. So he's going to be zooming around, and he kind of gets caught up with the Time Variance Authority, which we won't jump too far into that right now, but they are an organization that kind of watches people who mess with time specifically.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. The next Ant-Man movie is called Quantumania, and you'll remember in the Ant-Man movies they kind of introduce all of the quantum tunneling and
Time
going
vortexes.
into the quantum realm, and that's how they hop around time in Endgame. So it's all going to come to a head, and the changing reality is kind of the name of the game of
It's just
the next
gonna
few
be
years of
very
Marvel.
confusing.
It's just going to be very weird.
The only thing I'm nervous about is how they're gonna keep like the average audience, really compelled to stay and to try to understand.
Well, and
everything,
if you're asking,
it sounds like it's gonna be very convoluted and really
well, and if you're
confusing.
asking the question of, do I need to watch the Disney Plus shows along with the movies? The answer is resoundingly yes.
It
Yeah,
seems to be.
probably
Yeah,
yes.
it seems to
They
be. It's
intended
gonna,
for that.
yeah.
These are movies
Required
broken down
reading.
into episodic form, but it's not like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was. It's not like the Netflix Marvel properties were.
Yeah, it's like fun bonus material. No. This is like
Which all of those shows are being rumored to be reincorporated into the MCU.
Oh, okay.
Or those characters to some degree,
Oh.
which I read recently. So
Yeah, 'cause, like,
that's interesting.
because of that show, and honestly, I hadn't watched it up until like really I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but I just started. But what's his face is alive, I guess.
What show are you
Phil
talking
Coulson?
about?
Yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Shield. Okay.
Yeah, and Agents
Yeah,
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I won't ruin that for anyone here. If you want to, that is still technically considered part of the MCU. So go watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It has an interesting kind of Phil Coulson storyline.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, interesting, very interesting.
And there's rumors Daredevil is showing up in Spider-Man as well. So,
oh gosh.
So,
Okay.
but all that to say, yes, to make sense of all of this, Disney Plus is absolutely a must.
Necessary.
But good thing for you, you've got us to do all the heavy
we'll be
lifting
there
for you.
every step of the way to make it even more confusing.
To throw in all of our different theories, which, 9 out of 10 of them are
Which,
incorrect.
if you know us, we just throw everything at the wall. Absolutely everything,
That
with
one
no
meatball
regard
will stick.
to
Oh,
accuracy or anything
no.
else. We're not
No.
insiders. We're just fans.
No.
Indeed.
That will eventually be in the films, you know what I mean? Right.
Right.
Yes, if all
This
goes
was all done with
all
the
goes
express
according to
purpose.
plan.
Yes.
Kevin
right.
Feige is also coming
In which
on the
case,
show
we will
soon.
gladly drop you, our audience, in an instant as we go and work on.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, make sure you tune
Well,
in for
I'm
the next
not,
episode. We're gonna have
but-
Kevin Feige on, and he's gonna talk about the rest.
But you
of
have
the
to,
MCU.
but you have to subscribe to our Instagram, or you
It's-
have to follow our Instagram account in order to get access to that episode.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
right,
how it
right,
works.
Right.
For sure.
So,
Yes.
and
Oh,
follow us
good,
on Twitter as
good,
well.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice
Okay.
tie-in.
I know what you're thinking at home. When are they going to get back to Star Wars? Well, we are all in the process of reading Light of the Jedi,
We
the new High
are.
Republic book, and we are coming at you very soon with. We'll do it in chapter bulks
Yeah.
worth of discussion. And if you're reading that book, great. If you're not, you're going to hate that episode. So maybe, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know what
read
to tell
along
you.
with
Read.
us.
Try reading.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I mean, like, I don't really read very often, so it's gonna be a fun thing to do.
For sure. I'm
Together.
5 chapters in so far.
Oh shoot, I gotta catch up.
I've listened to 10.
Oh,
Oh,
But
Yeah.
listening it tends to go quicker than
it's a lot
reading
quicker.
does.
Yeah.
But
So, yeah,
we'll
we'll-
come at you with some High Republic goodness, and here in the near future, we'll keep you up to date on
a
WandaVision,
breast,
abreast.
a boob.
Yeah, so thanks so much for listening, and this is Inside the Tauntaun, a Star Wars podcast.
It is.
It is. You made it this far.
Who am I? What is this?
Who's doing this to you?
Who's doing? Alyssa, who's doing this to you?
So I'm Alyssa Simmons.
And I'm Daniel Dawson.
And I'm Dino Nicandros.
May the Force be with you.
Always.
I love you, 2000.